We didn't lose a building. We lost 700 years. Think about where we are right now. Smartphones, artificial intelligence, space travel. We think we're pretty advanced, don't we? Now consider this. 2,000 years ago, there was a single building sitting on the edge of the Mediterranean that housed the collected knowledge of the entire ancient world: medicine, astronomy, mathematics, philosophy, engineering. And then it burned. And here's what nobody tells you: we still haven't recovered. What was it exactly? Before we can understand what we lost, we need to understand what it actually was. Because the Library of Alexandria wasn't just a library. It was the world's first attempt at a universal archive. Founded around 300 BC by Ptolemy I, it was built with one terrifyingly ambitious goal: collect every book ever written, and they were serious about it. Ships docking in Alexandria's harbor were searched. Any scrolls found on board were confiscated, copied, and then the copy was returned to the owner. The original was kept. Yeah, they had a vibe. At its height, the library housed somewhere between 400,000 and 700,000 individual scrolls. It employed full-time scholars whose only job was to read, translate, and build on the knowledge around them. Eratosthenes, who calculated the circumference of the Earth with remarkable accuracy, did that in 240 BC, working right here. Euclid, Archimedes, Hypatia, these weren't just smart people. They were the operating system of human civilization, and the library was their server. The loss. Here's the part that historians still argue about. The library didn't die in a single dramatic night. It died in pieces. Julius Caesar, 48 BC, a fire during a naval battle, possibly accidental, probably catastrophic. Then Aurelian's attack in 270 AD. Then Theophilus in 391 AD. Then the Arab conquest in 642 AD. Death by 1,000 cuts. But here's what makes it a tragedy rather than just history. We don't know what was in it. We have references, ancient writers mentioning texts that no longer exist. Aristotle's complete second volume of Poetics, gone. The full astronomical records of Hipparchus, gone. Dozens of Greek playwrights, mathematical treatises, medical texts that may have documented cures we've only rediscovered in the last century. Gone, gone, gone. Think of it this way. Imagine if the entire internet, every website, every database, every scientific paper, every article ever written just vanished tomorrow. And in 1,000 years, future humans found a single description of what it used to contain. That's roughly where we are with Alexandria. We know it existed, we know it was enormous, and we know almost nothing of what it actually said. The what if. So, let's rewrite it. The library stands, the knowledge survives. What happens next? First, medicine. Galen, Herophilus, Erasistratus, ancient physicians who were performing dissections, theorizing about the nervous system, and documenting the human body with shocking accuracy. If that tradition hadn't been interrupted by centuries of knowledge loss and religious suppression of scientific inquiry, we may have had germ theory by 800 AD. The Black Death, which killed a third of Europe in the 14th century, might have been stopped before it ever gained a foothold. Hundreds of millions of lives simply not lost. Second, astronomy. Aristarchus of Samos, working out of Alexandria, proposed a heliocentric model of the solar system in 270 BC, nearly 2,000 years before Copernicus. That idea was almost certainly documented in the library, and it was almost certainly lost with it. Copernicus didn't publish his model until 1543. Galileo confirmed it in the early 1600s. That's an 1,800-year head start sitting in a building that burned. If that knowledge had survived and built upon itself continuously, there's a genuine argument that we may have reached the moon before the Middle Ages even started. Third, technology. Hero of Alexandria, yes, another Alexandria connection, built a working steam-powered engine in the 1st century AD. He called it the Aeolipile. It was treated as a novelty, a party trick, a curiosity. But what if his full mathematical and engineering notes survived, were studied, were built upon across generations? The Industrial Revolution might have happened 1,400 years earlier. The entire arc of human civilization, compressed, accelerated, fundamentally different. The counter-argument. Now, to be fair, some historians push back hard on all of this. They argue, reasonably, that technology doesn't advance in a straight line, that social structures, economics, politics, and religion all shape when an idea becomes not just thinkable, but possible. Maybe the steam engine needed the economic pressures of the 18th century to become a revolution. Maybe germ theory needed the microscope to first exist. Maybe humanity needed to be ready for these ideas before they could use them. These are fair points, and they're worth taking seriously. But here's what I keep coming back to. Even if we didn't advance faster, we would have advanced smarter. We would have started from a higher baseline, fewer wrong turns, fewer centuries spent painfully rediscovering things that were already known and already written down. The Dark Ages, in many ways, weren't a darkness of human creativity. People were still thinking, still building, still asking questions. It was a darkness of forgotten knowledge, a civilization trying to solve problems without access to solutions that had already been found. The closer. Here's what keeps me up at night. The Library of Alexandria was humanity's hard drive, and we didn't back it up. We are still, right now, today, operating on an incomplete data set. Every cancer we haven't cured, every star we haven't reached, every disease that still kills millions of people every year. Some part of me wonders, did someone already figure this out? Was the answer sitting on a shelf in Egypt 2,000 years ago, quietly waiting to be read by the next person who walked through that door? We'll never know. And that might be the most haunting thought in all of human history. So here's your question for today. If you could recover one single piece of knowledge from the Library of Alexandria, one scroll, one text, one idea that was lost forever, what would you choose? Drop it in the comments. I genuinely want to read every single answer. And if this video made you think even a little differently about the world we're living in, you already know what to do.